Hi, this is Liz, and welcome to my podcast, Spiritually Speaking with Liz, and also welcome to my YouTube channel. If you could like and subscribe to the channel, that'd be great, and click the little notification bell, and then you'll know of all future things that I upload. Today, I'm joined by an amazing guest, somebody who I know personally, but she's going to talk about something that I've experienced personally as well on quite a deep level. So today we've got Sue back. So Sue Kerr is a Reiki master, but she's also a clinical hypnotherapist. And that's what I wanted her here to talk to you about today, which you'll find out about why. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining me again.
Hi, Liz. Thanks for inviting me back again. I'm real thrilled that you invited me back. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, Sue, I have to tell you, is one of the, which is why I had Sue for the Reiki. She's one of the most genuine people I know, one of the most genuine therapists I know as well, and a very powerful one at that. Now, Sue has gone into hypnotherapy. So actually, Sue, before we start with all that, why did you train in hypnotherapy?
Well, quite a few years ago, I started to realise about the mind-body connection with the body and how illnesses can manifest in our body the way we think of things. And we all know, like if we're in a bad mood or something, how we feel terrible. You think makes us feel terrible. But then if you're in a really good mood, because this is something I noticed, say if you're in a bit of a down mood, say, think, oh, I can't be bothered to do anything. I don't want to do anything. And then somebody invites you on a night out and you really want to go. And all of a sudden you've got all this energy and you're like, yes, I'm going to go on this night out. And your mood just shifted and how different your body feels. So you suddenly think, yes. And all of a sudden you've forgotten about all the aches and pains that you were moaning about in the day. So it made me start to realise, and on my own journey, because, I went on my own self-healing journey, I realized how powerful the mind is, and it's always fascinated me. And I've always been interested in like psychotherapy and that kind of thing and how the brain works. And so it was, I thought, well, I'd started to realize how actually I'd been doing hypnotherapy on myself without even knowing it was hypnotherapy.
Okay.
Because I didn't really understand about hypnotherapy. So hypnotherapy is, we're all in hypnosis a lot of the time and we don't even realize it. We don't really think about it. So if you think hypnosis is basically heightened awareness. So when we're in hypnosis, a lot of people, they think, oh, I'm going to go into a trance, I'm going to go into oblivion, it's like mind control, somebody's going to take over my mind. I mean, blimey, if we could do that, I mean, I'd go to visit to the bank manager, £1 million, please. But obviously it's not that, it's nothing to do with that. So we all go into hypnosis during the day, but we maybe didn't realize that's what our mind is doing. So have you ever noticed, like when you're driving your car, for instance, and you do the regular thing to work and it's mundane, we do that same thing there and back there, and sometimes you get to work and you think, how did I get here?
Yes.
And you haven't crashed your car, you've stopped at all the right traffic lights, and you've basically just traveled to work on autopilot.
Yeah.
And basically that's because your body went into autopilot because it already knows what to do. And it's already, without you even thinking about it, it's already changing gear. You're already driving. You're already doing all these things and you're already stopping at the lights. But yet you've got your destination completely safely. And you wasn't in oblivion, you just did it on autopilot. And it's the same as when, you can be watching TV and you kind of zone out and you might be watching like a detective thing and you say, I don't get the plot. Hang on, what's going on? But zoned out.
Yes.
You've literally zoned out. Your eyes are open, you're watching it, you might even be eating, but you have kind of like zoned out And that is a form of hypnosis, because
Oh, wow, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, because you've let your mind go to somewhere else.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're actually thinking about something else.
Mm-hmm.
And I know sometimes, the more therapy I've done and the more I do on healing, it's also a trauma response for a lot of people, is that they zone out.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, that's a form of hypnosis where you're just taking yourself out of a situation, or you're taking yourself out of a time. And that's a form of hypnosis. So, all hypnosis is self hypnosis. So, when I do hypnotherapy, a client is fully alert, they're fully aware, they can hear everything. They've not gone to some oblivious place, although some people say they had a wonderful, they've never felt so relaxed in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Because their body feels calmer, relaxed, because we carry tension in our bodies, don't we? So
Yeah.
during the hypnosis phase, we're allowing the body to relax, and we're giving suggestions of relaxing, although I do say hypnotherapy is not relaxotherapy. I don't want people to fall asleep. I want them to listen to me. Because sometimes I have had clients where they come on an evening, they work full time, and they're relaxed, and then they might start to nod off. But I watch them the whole time. They start to nod off. I'll click my fingers, or I'll make a suggestion where they have to listen to me. They'll have to nod their head, or they'll have to do something. Just so they don't fall asleep, because I want people to be listening, alert, and taking in all the positive suggestions that I make.
I find that there's a big, I've been for hypnotherapy to a few different therapists, all brilliant.
Yeah.
But there's a big misconception, I think, with the general public, because like now when I speak to somebody and they'll be wanting to stop in smoking, say, is like a common one, isn't it? Or there's been the Hypnoband, which has been a common one. And they say that, oh, I went for it, but it won't work because I was awake. I could hear everything they said. And I was, well, good, you should hear everything that they say. But I think people think that it's the old click your fingers, you're going to be gone asleep, and then you're going to wake up at the end of the session. They don't realize that you need to be awake.
Yeah.
For the subconscious to hear. Well, the subconscious would hear anyway, wouldn't it? But for it to work on a better leveling, they need to be awake.
Well, I think that where that comes from is when you see like stage hypnotherapy where they'll click the fingers and they go sleep, and then everyone goes
yeah.
And somebody just sleep, they just close. But hypnotherapy isn't sleep. You're not fully awake, you're not asleep, you're somewhere kind of like in the middle, where your body is relaxed, your mind is relaxed, and you're just taking in the positive information that's being given to you.
I find it amazing. I first came to hypnotherapy it's literally about 30 years ago.
Wow.
And I was, my mentor.
Like as somebody mainstream going for hypnotherapy, it wasn't like as popular, say, as it is now.
No. Well, it was, I was working at the clinic. I was training another massage. I'd met Janet, who then became my mentor. And Janet introduced me through the clinic to a wonderful lady called Wendy, who did hypnotherapy. So I will go into this in a podcast at a later event about what happened to me, but it's not relevant at this point. But there was a trauma. And so I went to see Wendy. And it was unbelievable for me because I was witnessing myself laid on her sofa, fully awake, but it was almost as if I stood out of my body and I was watching that girl laid on that couch and seeing what had happened, witnessing what had happened. And it was the only time I felt, because I'd blocked it all off. So with the help of the hypnotherapy in a controlled very controlled space. And, you know, I don't want this to scare anybody off because it was the making of me, but it was that seeing what had happened and allowing me to have the voice to speak up, allowing me to respond.
Yeah.
The easiest way to put it. And it was just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, it was incredible. I think I went, you know, and I cried buckets because all this emotion that I'd been holding in. And later throughout the years, I've gone, if I felt particularly stressed about something, like when I had a breakdown and I'd been put on all the medication, which I didn't want to be, and I wanted to come off it. So I went to see somebody then who helped me to start to come back to me, to,
Yeah.
I don't like the word control, but to get more in control of me again.
Yeah.
And find who I am. And it's just an incredible therapy, I think. It really is. And I'm really pleased that it does seem to be becoming more mainstream because it's been around a long time, hasn't it?
Oh, a long time, long time. And it's changed a lot as well. And what I find is that a lot therapists have their own way of working, and everybody works in their own way. It's sort of something like with everything, like reiki, reflexology. They're the things that I do. But you learn those things, and then you do your way, how you like to do things. And I like to do with my clients, I like to personalize everything, so it's really personal and bespoke to them. And that's how I think you get better results, because I know sometimes people will say, oh well, they've listened to somebody else's recording of something, but that's bespoke to them.
Yeah.
It don't always work the same way. Not saying it doesn't work. It might, might work for somebody. But I like to make my therapies bespoke to that client. So no therapy has ever been the same, even if they've come for the same thing. Because everyone's unique, everyone's got their own way, and some things that might work with one client might not work with another.
And that's how it should be. Everything is meeting the person where they're at. We're not a one size fits all in that environment, are we? In our mental state, because three people say who want to stop smoking, or three people who are struggling with sleep, they're going to have different experiences that are creating why they started smoking, why they don't want to stop, why they do want to stop. It's very, there's a lot of facets to the ball, isn't there?
Yeah. And to get to the real reasons and causes is what, to me, makes the therapy work better. And that's what I think.
No, totally agree. So for people who don't know anything about hypnotherapy, what can you just sort of, so we know what it is, or you explained a little bit what would happen in a session, but what type of things would people come to for hypnotherapy? So I've said about the smoking and maybe struggling sleeping and stress. What else could people come to hypnotherapy with?
Well, it really is one of those therapies where literally you can come for anything. It's like never ending. So like I remember a lady who came, and in the beginning she said to me, oh, I just want to experience hypnotherapy because I want to relax.
Mm-hmm.
During the consultation, it was a very different story. So then this ended up being a much more complex therapy, and that was about trauma, childhood trauma. So then there was for childhood trauma and helping people to, I don't want someone to relive anything, because I don't think you've already gone through that trauma once. I don't want you to go through that trauma again. Mm-hmm. But like you said, there's a way in hypnotherapy where we can allow someone to stand out the outside and watch from a different point of view. And then you can maybe have the opportunity, like you said, somebody who maybe didn't speak up, they now have the opportunity to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of things are based in childhood trauma. I just recently did a course on trauma as well. So a lot of things can stem back to that. And so, like you say, stopping smoking is like people and weight loss. But a lot of my things have been like more complex than that. I've had somebody who, it wasn't for weight loss, it was an eating problem where they just didn't know when to sort of stop eating. They didn't really have that thing, well, I need to stop eating at this point. And they really wanted to get that back into control, get themselves back into a healthy pattern. And that worked. That was a great success. People stopping smoking. It's never ending. There's people who've said, well, they just want to experience past life, and sometimes they want a past life experience. And then there's also with bereavement, where I wouldn't do a therapy with somebody who's in their first year of bereavement, because I think you have to go through a process, and that is something that you have to do. And once you've gone through that process, I did have somebody who hadn't spoken to his dad, and he got the opportunity to go back to a time and to speak to his dad again, in his mind. So that made him, it released a lot of trauma, tension from his body, because you used his mind, he's under hypnosis, and he could go back to that time. And then it's the release, because a lot of the time we store so many emotions in our body, and grief and anger, resentment, bitterness, all those things that we store that are just not good in our body. And just a session that takes you back or helps you just look at something from a different point of view, because sometimes we just need to look at something from a completely different point of view. And the amount of times people say, I can't believe I've let that thing bother me all these years, and now it's gone. I think one of the ones that are, because I know I seem like really excitable and things, but I just get so passionate about
it's
things.
lovely.
And I had a lady who had a condition called Aphids, and she didn't know she had a condition called Aphids. She was telling me all her problem, and she'd been told that she had some form of anorexia. And then I did lots of research into it, and I found out it was a condition called Aphids, which is basically it classed as an eating disorder. But it's where you can't eat certain foods, and a lot of the time through fear. So it often stems from childhood trauma. And they literally, it's not being a picky eater, because some people say, oh, they're just a picky eater. They're not a picky eater. They literally have a fear that they can't put a certain thing in their mouth, like, a tomato or a cucumber. They literally can't fear. So, they go all through adulthood, and then they get to a point where they're not enjoying life, can't go out for meals, because basically some people, all they can manage to eat is chicken nuggets, chips and burgers, pizza. They're safe childhood food. And anyway, this lady came to me for a treatment, and after the treatment, she was eating fruit that she'd never eaten before.
Wow.
And it was such a fantastic moment for us both. And the next week she came back for a second treatment. Now, I said to her from the start, this might be 3 or 4 treatments, but I just want you to pay for the 2 treatments so that you're committed to come in, and then we'll see. After the second treatment, she did so amazing. She didn't need any more treatments. That was it. She was eating the fruit, the vegetables, all the things that she'd had this fear of eating. And that is the power of hypnotherapy. So this lady has gone through all her adult life. She was 50, gone through all her adult life of not being able to eat. certain things because of this fear was so overwhelming. And basically, I totally got rid of that fear and eating. And I kept in contact with her afterwards because I like to check up on my clients. How's it going? How are you? And then she sent me some photographs, and I said, great, send me all the photographs of all the lovely food you're trying. Can't believe I'm trying this. I can't believe I've had this. I can't, and you know, super excited. And I think that's how fantastic hypnotherapy is. You know, so when you hear people saying, oh, it doesn't work, and or you know, it's this or it's that, they maybe haven't experienced it from themselves, or they don't know somebody who's had a good experience. Because somebody said to me, oh, a friend of mine, they went for hypnotherapy for no smoking. It doesn't work, because as soon as they went outside, they lit up a cigarette. So I said, well, they clearly didn't want to stop.
Yeah.
Hypnotherapy, and I say this to all my clients who, I had a client this morning for stopping smoking, and I already make sure before they come that it's something they are committed to do. They committed to do the no smoking, and I have them like they come like a week or two after the consultation, so they're already getting into their mind that on that date that will be the last cigarette they smoke. And so you work with the client to help them stop smoking. So if somebody just went and they lit up a cigarette, that isn't really the hypnotherapist, it's a lot them too, because you have to be willing to, it's not a magic wand. That's what I always say to people. This is not a magic wand. I'm not going to wave a wand and you are just going to be a non-smoker. The same with people who want weight loss. And then I say, it's not a magic wand. You're not going to come in a size 20 and a week later be a size 10. You know, because we all want that, don't we? We want an instant fix.
Yes.
Work with the mind, the reprogramming of the mind, basically.
I think that's so interesting. I mean, first of all, let's address the lady with the eating. That is life-changing.
Life-changing.
That has really changed her life. So now she can go out and eat. Now she's not building up that fear of, well, I can't go here, or what if. That is just astounding.
Exactly. Well, you know, to be honest, because I really love getting the best results for my clients. It gives me like such a buzz when a client gives me feedback and they say, oh, this is so much better, or this is cured, or you know, you feel like amazing. And that was an evening appointment, and I was working at the salon, and it was an evening appointment, and I walked home. On my way home, I literally felt like I flew, because I felt so happy for that client that there they were, sat with me in the room, and you know, they couldn't eat a tomato, so they ate a tomato, you know, and it was like, and their plan was they wanted to go on a cruise. So I said, you know, but that was bothering them that they wouldn't be able to eat the food. You know, and you're just surrounded by everybody else who's eating this lovely food. And there's no escape, is there, on a cruise? So it's not like you can just go home and eat your own little food. You're with everybody. You want to enjoy it. You want to experience it. And so that lady will be going on her cruise, and she'll be able to eat absolutely everything.
That's just wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think that as well, with your response to that, one, your commitment with her, how you've turned her life around, but then your response to that, to me, is that you're doing exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah, I feel like that. I do feel like
that. You must do. You must do.
When there's like such a powerful thing where it's instant, where somebody instantly is eating food, that's such a good feeling. It's such a good feeling for me, such a good feeling for them. And like you say, life-changing. And there's so many things that are completely life-changing with hypnotherapy. And there's literally no end to it. You could literally do a therapy on almost anything that anybody is struggling with.
And then going back to what you said before, I've experienced this through other people. Like I was saying, oh, I went for smoking, it didn't work. People want you to fix them, but they don't want to put the effort in.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, there's no effort with hypnotherapy, the session afterwards, but deep down it will be like the smoking. Maybe the doctor said you have to stop smoking, or their partner said you must stop smoking. The children said you're upsetting me with your smoking. So they're not coming to it from I want to stop smoking. They're coming from it from I am being told I have to. And then so you're against that rebellion then, aren't you? Like with the eating.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit, sometimes I can be a little bit rebellious with myself. So years and years ago, it's why, like with the smoking cessation, I was a smoker, so I can understand exactly what it feels like to be a smoker. I can totally understand it because I've been there. And you pull these excuses. And I remember when I first got ill, and my consultant said to me, well, you know, obviously you're not a smoker. And I said, oh, actually I am. And he said, that's the worst thing you can do is smoke. You've got to stop smoking. That made me smoke twice as many.
Yeah.
Something inside me was like, well, I don't want to stop. It was like, I don't want.
Dare you?
And I don't want to be forced into doing something I don't want to, kind of thing, which is absolutely crazy. But then, you know, then I did get my head around it. And it's all to do with your training your brain and your mind. And it amazes me how many times I have trained my own brain without realizing it was a form of hypnotherapy, like so many times. And you know, obviously years ago there wasn't the internet, and even from a teenager. And this is what fascinated me to make me want to go into it, because I didn't even know I was doing that. And it was, I remember reading about Coca-Cola had, I was 15, and you know, you start to get weight conscious, and I read that Coca-Cola had 15 spoonfuls of sugar. And I thought, oh my God, 15 spoonfuls of sugar. And back in the day, if you ate sugar, you were going to be fat, where they changed the thinking, don't they? So thinking, oh my God, I don't want to be fat. So I'm not going to drink the Coca-Cola. But I liked it. So then I just started saying, oh no, I don't like Coca-Cola. And then I used to say, oh, Coca-Cola makes me feel sick. And I said it that many times that Coca-Cola did make me feel sick and I didn't like it. So that fascinated me when I got older, that when I was sort of like the power of the mind and what we tell the mind, and how amazing that is, that we can change anything really. Sometimes we need a little bit of help from a hypnotherapist to help get our mind on track to something where we want to be thinking in a different way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we need people like you guys with the big things that would, like the smoking, like the weight loss, like the phobias, like this lady that you've been talking about with the eating disorder. There are deep rooted things like that I don't think you can, and I'm sure people will disagree, but I don't think you can deal with things like that on your own, because you're not looking at them objectively. No, you're looking at them through the lenses of your experience or the emotions you were feeling at that time. So you can't do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So deep-rooted things, you need a therapist, and you need a therapist who's had some experience, because you're quite right to say that we look at something from our own point of view and our own experience, but a therapist can see it from another point of view and help direct you to see something from a different point of view, or to help you move forward from something you're maybe stuck on. So but it just amazes me that how hypnotherapy can work, and how in a therapeutic setting that the things that it can do to really get to the root of a problem, resolve problems. And it's just so good when you see a client leave and something they've held on to for years and years is just gone.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's it was beyond words for me from the experience of myself. So
Yeah.
can you give us an example of another client that you've worked with that has been like a big shift, like the lady with the eating disorder?
Well, there was so a lady that had had a lot of childhood abuse that had happened, but it changed the way she thought about herself. So it all changed it, which it keeps us stuck in this way that we often have, and feelings of guilt, shame, embarrassment, and we tend to keep ourselves like closed. We feel like we're not good enough. We feel like this it's such a terrible thing to hold on to, but you've held on to that since you was a child. And this lady, she came and she had therapy, and I was doing confidence boosting and this and this and this, and very quickly her life completely shifted because she'd got the confidence to move forward. She'd let go of all these feelings from the past, completely changed her life, changed her job, changed everything, and it really did move her forward. Moved her forward in such a massive way that, you think all these things, when you don't realize it's been holding you back. And that, I just thought, she said to me, oh, I can't believe this has held me back for 30 years. And now I've let go of it. I feel like I've just let go of these heavy, heavy sacks that I've been carrying around all this time. And like, it's this feeling of, well, I'm free. And it's like, what a relief.
It's a euphoria, isn't it? And literally, like I keep saying, it literally is life-changing. You're wiping something out of somebody's life, or giving them a different perspective is maybe a better way of saying it, and just allowing them to, it's like, I always liken it to a computer. So we might have our emails open, we might be looking at something on YouTube, we might have Facebook open. So these things are running in the background all the time. So, but obviously when all that's off and you're just looking at the one thing, your computer's quicker, it responds quicker. And it's the same with our brains, I think, that we've got these things in the back of our minds that have stayed open because we've not come to any conclusion with them. We've not been able to work through them ourselves. So we push them back, we push them down, so they become the ailments like we've spoken about. People like, I had horrific digestive problems. I had really bad IBS because it was that pushing down all the time. And just to allow somebody to unlock that and just actually look at it from this viewpoint, or just to click that program closed. It's total freedom.
Yeah, exactly. And even giving somebody, like, I like to give a lot of people tools, and I always say these are your tools. I give people tools to go away with, so they're not just here for the therapy, they've then got a tool they can use later on. Even for pain management, because even that way you can lower your pain. For somebody that's in a lot of pain, that's life-changing. For somebody who's in constant pain, to have this in their mind where they're lowering their pain. Obviously, everybody's different at different things. But it's like you say, when you've got all these programs running, and I always say, it's like, I always say this is an analogy, actually. I always say that, when you've got an old computer and all these programs are running, plus it picks up all these bugs and this and this and this, becomes slow. And when you clear everything, it, like you say, it runs quicker and it's more efficient. And that's basically your body. You're just giving the brain, the old computer, a new program to run. So you're running a new, more efficient program. And that more efficient program is what really helps, that makes the life-changing, all possibilities life-changing.
That's really amazing. And I'm going to put you on the spot now with you saying that. Is there like a little exercise we could do now, maybe for relaxation, or just something so people could have a little tiny taster? Obviously, this is on a podcast, this is on the YouTube, and it's not specific for them. But is there anything that you can do that would give somebody like a taster of what might happen?
So in the way of, if you just focus, well, you could focus your awareness for starters. So if
Okay.
you just focus your awareness, so one of the things you can do is just look at a spot on the wall and just focus your awareness on a spot on the wall, and you just keep focusing and just keep looking at a spot on the wall. And as you keep looking at that spot on the wall, you might notice it starts to change. You might notice it changes colour. You might notice it changes shape. You just keep that awareness. And as you concentrate on that awareness, you might notice you're blinking more. And as you blink a little bit more, you might just want to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, you just notice you can hear everything so much sharper. You might hear a clock ticking in the background. You might hear other things. And you might notice your body like swallowing. You notice your body is doing things. And then you notice your breathing. And you notice how much calmer you feel as hypnosis just drifts down your body. It might start on the crown of your head, this feeling of hypnosis, and your head might start to tingle. Your head starts to tingle, and that hypnosis just drifts down your face, and down your cheeks and your jaw, and it softens your jaw. It drifts down your neck, and down your arms, right down to your fingertips. And then you may even notice that your fingertips start to tingle. And they start to tingle with the hypnosis. And it just drifts down your body, down your chest. And then you might notice your breathing is slowed down. And you're feeling more relaxed. And then as that hypnosis drifts down to your tummy, and your tummy muscles relax, and then that hypnosis might drift down to your thighs and to your knees. And you notice the tension that are in your thighs, that just becomes softer. As it drifts down your legs and right down to the tips of your toes. And that feeling of hypnosis washes over you now, right down to the tips of your toes, and that tingling sensation is right there. Just notice how good that feels. And just notice your body and notice your awareness. And just let your body go till you go even deeper. And just relax even deeper. And that feeling of relaxation, that feeling of just being there in that moment, that's exactly what it feels like to be in hypnosis. That wonderful sensation where you can still hear my voice. You can still be aware of all what's going on around you. And if we had a longer time, we'd go even deeper, but we're not doing that today. So you can just open your eyes and come back to awareness. And as you come back to awareness, wide awake, it's just that feeling that as you start to go in, obviously we haven't got very long, and I don't know how long you wanted me to go, but that beginning feeling, sometimes people haven't even felt that sensation of just letting the body, just this tingling sensation just drift through the body.
I'm not here now. Oh wow, that was amazing. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That was just perfect. You can just feel everything just stops, doesn't it? And you just like.
And obviously, if you're in a session that goes on for a little bit longer and you go deeper, and like I said, I want you to be so relaxed where you nod off. I like you to be just at that point where your consciousness is just shifted a little bit, so you can still hear, but you're not asleep, but you're just, it's like you just take a little step to the side.
That was perfect, and a really lovely introduction to anybody who has never tried it, has been inquisitive about trying it. I think that's just the perfect taster for them, and I think that's the perfect way for us to finish.
Perfect.
Because my mind's gone now. I'm just. Oh, Sue, thank you so much for joining me. As always, an absolute pleasure. If you want to contact Sue, I'll put all the details in the show notes. And remember, by the power of Zoom, you can be in touch with her from anywhere in the world, which is perfect. So if you feel that she works for you, then just look at her details below and we can get you in touch with her. Sue, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and listening to us. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and to the YouTube channel, and I'll be back again soon. Thank you. Bye.